Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining me from. Hi, I'm Jo Vorbone, looking a little bit bleary-eyed because if you saw my Facebook post this morning, you'll know that I didn't go to sleep until the dawn had broken and the birds had started their morning chorus. So I've said to people today, yeah, can you treat me gently a little bit? Because I feel like, I might need some gentle treatment today. So hello, welcome. Welcome to my Lessons from a Lurker. And it's been quite a week. And it's only Tuesday. But I've had such a fascinating experience over the last few days that has enabled me to craft and record a podcast that I think is going to be really helpful for people, actually. And I won't bore you with what kicked all of this off, but over the weekend I spent, good morning. That must be Carrie if it's a foggy 65 in Minnesota. Hi, Carrie. How are you? Lovely to see you. So I spent most of this weekend recharging physically. So I literally was I was going to say lazy. Yeah, I might say lazy, but I was actually inactive. How about I say that? Rather than lazy, I was inactive this weekend because I definitely needed to recharge. But it didn't necessarily recharge me in the way I needed or wanted. And as a result, I woke up on Monday morning, and some of you may have seen the post and worried more than you needed to, perhaps, because I said I've woken to strangers in my house. Apathy, despair, and despondency. So when people started to comment about, oh no, that, and I finished off the post by saying eviction notices being prepared. It was clear that some people thought I literally had strange people in my real house. So I should have been clearer in my post, but I went back in and edited it in terms of in my emotional house, as it were, and their names are apathy, despondency, and despair. So that made it clearer for people. But what it gave me a brilliant opportunity to do was to reflect on how I had let those three in, and it appeared that I'd almost thrown wide open the door to my subconscious and said, come on in, plenty of room for you in here. And of course, those three really are not particularly helpful to me when I've got so much that I want to get done. So, long story short, I was reflecting on this, and what I realized is that because I had recharged, I thought physically, although inactivity clearly isn't the way that I need to recharge. I did do a bit in the garden, but not very much. I need to be doing more in the garden, I think, and certainly more walking, more by the coast, because I do love the sea. What I hadn't done was kind of recharged emotionally. And in essence, what that had done is it had left the door wide open for these three to go, hey, look, we don't even have to break and enter. We can just come straight in through that door, straight into her subconscious mind and give her hell, which is sort of what they did. Fortunately, I cottoned onto it pretty quickly. And you'll hear in the podcast that's coming out Thursday, I actually, in the space of, see, Carrie, I didn't check that. I need to check that, so I'll do that. Let me just share, sorry, what Carrie's just asked. Great question. Were my emotional and physical biorhythms both crossing or very high, very low? Not sure, Carrie. I'll need to go and check that. But what I did was I created an eviction notice for those three unwanted, unwelcome, uninvited guests, and commanded them to leave, taking nothing with them but the rubbish they'd accumulated. So they were to take nothing from me but their own trash, basically. But because I know the subconscious mind doesn't like missing things. It doesn't like things being out of place. There being holes, there being gaps, as it were. I decided to invite in 3 guests to take their place who I gave long tenancies to, and decided that they were going to be much more helpful for me right now. And they are joy, courage. Oh, what was the third? I've forgotten the third. Oh, how can I forget that? Optimism. So joy, courage, and optimism have now settled in and are making sure that the other 3, apathy, despair, and discouragement, didn't leave anything behind. And I've got my inner advocate and inner rebel working alongside them to make sure actually that I am in a better place. And what it's done is it's prompted me to make sure that when I do schedule downtime, when I am recharging, that what I'm doing is recharging emotionally as well as physically. So that was a brilliant opportunity, actually, because it enabled me to create this process, which I think other people will benefit from. And it kind of didn't end there, because I ended up working quite late last night. Yeah, emotional replacements. Exactly. I'm not just going to leave a gap, Carrie. And as I mentioned right at the start, I didn't go to sleep until after dawn, till the birds were already singing. And that's about 4:15 here at the moment. So it's still pretty early. And I managed to get, I don't know, nearly 3.5, 4 hours sleep after that. So I don't feel too bad today. But what was so fascinating is when I was awake, I wrote an article in my mind, because I think joy and optimism and courage are kind of, perhaps they're doing a bit of a spring clean, perhaps they're smudging a bit in there, and there was almost a bit too much energy in my subconscious right now. So I wrote an article, not physically, because I wasn't going to turn the light on, but I wrote an article in my head that I am about to pull from my mind and put onto paper, because I think it's going to be a brilliant article. So yeah, I'm a little bit miffed that I didn't get to sleep until very early this morning, and that I probably haven't had quite enough sleep, but it was very productive. And I'm not going to complain about being awake and being productive. I can complain about being awake and being unproductive. I would complain about that. So tonight, I'm going to do some genuine, authentic smudging. And I'm also going to do some virtual smudging in my subconscious. Haven't figured out quite how I'm going to do that yet, but I know I will. And then my plan is to sleep well tonight. That article will be out of my head and on paper or into my keyboard, and I'll actually be ready for a good night's sleep. So I wonder maybe I need to calm my inner rebel down. Maybe she was a bit overexcited. So I'm going to get my inner advocate to manage my inner rebel, calm her down a bit, maybe send her on a little errand so that I can have a good night's sleep. So that's me. Here's Carrie again. I'm going to bet your physical biorhythm was above the line, need less sleep. Oh, okay. Yeah, because it's not always a bad thing, is it? So, yeah, I'll have a look at that. As soon as I clear down, Carrie, I will call up my biorhythm and I will have a look and just check. But really nice observation. Thank you. So thank you for joining me. And do listen to the podcast that launches or that goes live this early into Thursday morning, because I'll share with you that whole process of evicting those 3 unwanted subconscious mind guests, those squatters, as I've called them. And I think that might be useful for some people. Anyway, if you're ending up watching on replay, #replay, leave me a comment, let me know how things are for you. And I look forward to, I think I'm seeing you next Tuesday. I don't think I've got anything else on, so hopefully see you next Tuesday. Thank you for joining me live. Thank you, Carrie, for that nudge for biorhythms. Why do I always, not always, but I often overlook that? So I'm going to go and look at that straight away. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care, everyone.